This is James Luxon, delighted to be joined today with Shannon Ryan. Shannon, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good stuff. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Shannon, talk to me a little bit about your upbringing and your start in combat sports.
Yeah, so I started with the kickboxing, but the kickboxing style that I'd done was point fighting. So you weren't allowed to knock each other out. It was point scoring. I'd done that when I was five up until about 17, 16, 17. My dad has a kickboxing gym, so I was kind of born into martial arts and the fighting aspect. Um, and then I won everything that there was to achieve within that sport, finished world number one, and then I trialed out for the GB Taekwondo team. I was there for just a few months, but then I had a serious hip injury and then I had to come off of the team. And that's when I found boxing and I started boxing in August 2018 as an amateur. And then I went pro in September 2021. And then here I am today as a professional boxer, about to have my seventh fight in the new year.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the start of combat sports. You said that you're 5 years old. That's a very young age to come into any combat sport. And what did that teach you at that age, or was it just normal for you? Because, like I say, your dad had a gym. It's all you sort of known when you was growing up. Was it just a natural thing for you to enter the gym?
Yeah, a natural thing. But when I look back on it as I'm 26 years old now, I would say that has given me a lot of drive, a lot of determination within life, not just sport. So a lot of motivation as well, and kind of I don't stop until I reach my goals or I get to where I want to get to. But I think that is because of the martial arts that I'd done from so young, and it is literally installed into me, like a routine is installed into me.
What about the discipline aspect of it? What was you like in school and growing up and things like that? Was you ever a naughty kid, or because you had that discipline aspect of combat sports, did you sort of always on the straight and narrow as such? You was never wearing off to, it wasn't a naughty kid. Or, sometimes you see kids who may struggle in school, they go into combat sports to get that discipline. You had that
Yeah,
first.
yeah, I was never a naughty child at school. I was very respectful, even at home, very respectful. I do as I'm told, and I really like to help other people, and I've had that as well since I was a lot younger. But that's from training with kids, and then moving up into the juniors and the adults. Um, but yeah, I've always been very respectful. But again, that is from the martial arts that I've done because obviously it's a martial arts and it's very respected.
No, absolutely. You mentioned Taekwondo, Team GB, only for a few months. How realistic or how close was the Olympics for you?
So I was there for 9 months. Can't remember exactly remember what year, but I was training for Tokyo 2020. Um, I think yeah, I went 2016, I believe. So I was very at the start. Um, but you didn't get eased into. So I only used to train on a Wednesday and a Friday within the kickboxing. And in when you go to the GB system, they just chuck you in straight away. Every Monday to Friday, 3 times a day. So my body wasn't accustomed to that, and I didn't get gradually put into it with the GB Taekwondo. Hence the hip injury that I had, and then got released from the team because the injury was bad. And with them, it's literally a resume. You have to be competing to get to the qualifiers and the Olympics, of course. But I'm glad it went that way. I didn't enjoy it. I learned a lot about myself within that sport as well. Um, and again, with life, I try and look at sport as a whole and what that can bring to your life. And for me, it's if I'm not happy doing something, I won't give it my all. And I feel like in life, you get one life, so be happy with whatever you're doing. And that kind of taught me that, like, I really was not happy there, and it kind of messed with me mentally. And I'm in such a different position now.
You mentioned that it messed with you mentally. How did you deal with that, at such a young age?
A lot of family time. I used to come home. It was in Manchester, so I used to travel back to London every weekend. A good support system. I've always had good support. Um, and then yeah, just reaching out to different people, and then just allowing the time aspect of it to point me in the right direction of where I need to be. And obviously that was off the team and to be boxing.
Talk about boxing and that transition. Was it easy for you to stay disciplined and not, have that habitual motion of going for a kick or anything like that?
Yeah, do you know what? I've never actually kicked in boxing, but I think it's because you've got the boots on. But yeah, the journey has been as a fantastic one, if I'm completely honest. I've been boxing now five and a bit years, And to see where I come from to where I am now, I think my coach has done, a tremendous job. My dad, with what he installed in me with the points fighting and the martial arts, but then my coach, who is still my coach now, from the amateurs to the pro, um, the consistency, the hard work that he puts in to get to where I am now. It's such a different transition. We thought I was good when I first started, but now we look at me now and we're like, what was we looking at? So yeah, it's been a good journey. And when I look back, I'm just so grateful that everything is aligned the way it's meant to be.
I want to mention, seeing your t-shirt there, the O2 badge. You used to work for O2 and now they're sponsoring you. Talk to me about that, how that, first of all, that sponsorship came about, but also, going from working for O2 to boxing on a big stage, even down to the O2 Arena as well on that massive all women's card.
Yeah, so the sponsorship come about, again, I believe from my upbringing and how I am as a character. So when I did turn pro, or when I was turning pro, I thought, the money, is not as much as the men. And I'm thinking, how can I really get to where I want to get to in this sport, with some funding and sponsorship behind me, with not having a fight, if that makes sense. So I just emailed, and it was a really assertive email, very direct and to the point. And I think that's what stood out. And initially, it wasn't really working out. And then I sent a few more emails, and I kind of said like how it would benefit myself, but also would benefit the company of O2, rather than just me, I need this. I thought this would be a great partnership together. I was at the store for 5 years, worked my way up, nearly got sacked, become assistant manager, had the role of a manager whilst my manager was on paternity leave. So it was quite a nice journey and a whirlwind, of a transition as well. And then we had a video call with the head of sponsorship, and he loved how I spoke, and my passion that I was, how I was speaking. And then yeah, it went from strength to strength, and here we are now with a sponsorship with O2, a partnership.
So if I need to get sponsored by O2 for this channel, I'll send them a certain email.
But yeah, no, they are incredible. Again, I feel so blessed and grateful because I used to work at that company, and they are a fantastic company to work for. When I was kickboxing, I was traveling all the time, around Europe for tournaments, and they would always let me go. The staff would always swap with me, and I didn't ever have any issues within that. So I was able to reach the goals that I wanted to. Um, and then when I was assistant manager, it was tough. It was, the early mornings, the locking up at 6. But then my amateur class starts at 6:30, which is in North London. So I'm having to travel, lock up the store, get changed at the store, quickly have a banana, travel 25 minutes to North London to join in the amateur class. So it was hard. And retail is, it's not a Monday to Friday. You get 2 days off every now and then. But there's beauty in the struggle. They supported me, and again, I always look back at my story and my journey, and it wouldn't have made me the person that I am now. And especially that job, the communication part of it, you're around so many different customers every day, which I feel a lot of people ask me if I've been media trained. I think maybe because the way I speak, but I truly believe that job was a huge part for the transition that I'm in now and where I'm going within boxing, um, because I know how to speak and when to speak and how to change it, and things like that. So yeah, shout out to O2, they're fantastic.
Fortunately, you mentioned it a little bit there, but the work ethic that you do get from working in retail, you mentioned it could be, early mornings, it could be late nights, it could be weekends. It's not like you say, a 9 till 5, Monday to Friday sort of thing, and you've got your weekends and evenings every day to yourself. It does change it up. It does, like you say, work weekends, or you may have one day off here and then the next day, a few days later, it's not 2 days off together. Do you feel that work ethic is something that you can relate to in terms of your boxing as well and sport in general?
Absolutely, because as much as I did love my job, I personally do not want to go back. So it is the you work hard within the sport, so you don't go back, if that makes sense. Um, and anything that I do, I always give it 1,000%. So even at my job, even when it was hard, I would give it 1,000%. And it's the same with boxing. I think it's anything that you do. If someone's employing you or you've got a job to do, you have to fulfill that and do the best that you can.
No, absolutely. Another successful partnership that you have found is with 258 Management, Anthony Joshua's company. I think I see it there on your right sleeve. Um, Now, talk to me about how this deal came about, because this is, it's a big deal, really. And for you to come in so early in your career to get this deal over the line is massive, and it shows your potential and what they see in you as well.
Yeah, so I started amateur boxing at Finchley ABC. Obviously AJ's from Watford and so am I. So the families know each other as well. But it was a case of, they saw me at Finchley, they saw what I could do and how I moved as an amateur. And I think it was just they kept their eye. And then when it was time to turn over, we kind of both reached out, and then it's been a brilliant journey again ever since. Um, they're great. We share. What's nice is I love what AJ's done and what he's built. And as a whole and as a company, I feel like as an athlete and a management, we share the same vision for myself. And female boxing is climbing, it's booming right now. And I feel like both boxing wise and commercially, I feel like I can really get to the top. And I think they're a brilliant management to be able to help me elevate and get me to where I want to be.
What is Anthony Joshua to Finchley Boxing Club? I mean, you went to boxing, I think you said 2018, so AJ would have been pro at this point. He may have even been world champion at this point. I think 2016 he beat Charles Martin, and he still puts a lot into Finchley and into his roots in Watford, especially as well. What was it like to start boxing, come through at Finchley, and see this guy doing this stuff for the club, and now to be managed by this company?
Yeah, the classes were always super, super busy. I remember I didn't actually want to go there to begin with because of AJ's name and how busy it was. And I didn't want to be that person that's going there because AJ goes there. But again, it just happened. It went well. Had my first session with my now Coach G, and it was a brilliant session, and I stayed with him ever since. But yeah, as you're right, AJ was pro, so he would come down in the daytime. My coach would always give me extra sessions, which I'm very grateful for. So I've always worked double the time to get to the skill set that I have now. But yeah, even just seeing him in the gym, seeing his presence, it's motivating, it's inspiring, because it's like I'm aspiring to become undisputed myself. So it's to see such a hard worker and know that I'm a hard worker. It's just, when you're looking at it, that you can do that too.
Can you also relate in the fact that you're both from Watford, both from the same club? You sit there and go, well, do you know what? If he can do it, I can as well. We're in the same boat.
Yeah, of course. And he's always at the end of the phone if you need to reach out for advice or anything like that. So yeah, it's great support. And I know with the support that I have, I can achieve the things that I want to achieve.
Talk to me about I believe will be your next fight, or a fight of yours coming up very soon. You've been put forward by the Board of Control for the British title, only the second ever female British title. So your name will be in history books. This is, massive, massive news. How does that make you feel, first of all?
Um, it makes me feel really blessed, really, really. It's special because I put so much work into what I do. Every single day. If I'm not boxing, I'm trying to do my Instagram. If I'm not doing my Instagram, I'm trying to help people. So I feel like my life is non-stop, but for the good. Um, and to be part of history like I was when I boxed at the O2, and now to be able to fight for the British and that be ordered, put forward by Eddie, and then the board, accepting that request. It's nice because there's belief in me and what I do. And when and if that does happen, I'm going to give it my all.
Now, the opponent for that looks likely to be the Commonwealth champion, Emma Dolan. Do you know much about her, or is it something when when it is all announced, when it is signed, that's when you start doing your homework?
Yeah, I know of her. 6 wins, one knockout. But yeah, it will be a really good fight. It will be a good fight when and if that happens.
Absolutely. Talk to me about breaking barriers and being a part of this massive evolution in women's boxing.
Women's boxing right now, when I started in 2018, it was no even as an amateur, it was nowhere near as what it is now. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I feel Matchroom and Eddie obviously because I'm with that platform and promoter now, I think the amount of effort and time that they put into us as women is phenomenal, and it's only going strength to strength. So to be a part of it, I think now is a perfect time. It's going to get stronger in time, for sure. But to be a part of it right now, whilst I'm 26 years old, I've got loads of time left, and I'm going to see it elevate. Is fantastic.
Were there any female boxers that you looked up to? I know you came into boxing fairly late on, and you was kickboxing for yourself for most part of your life. But was there any female boxers that you looked up to when you was growing up?
Not really, just because of that. I've always watched boxing, but I've never, because I never dreamt of being a boxer. I never had my eyes on anyone. But obviously, hats off to Katie Taylor, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. So there's massive, massive respect there, and there's massive respect for anyone that gets in the ring and that are just trying to come together and really elevate women's boxing.
In life, you never know what's around the corner. You mentioned there, boxing was never even a thought of yours. You didn't want to turn over as a professional boxer. You never even imagined that could be where your life would take you. When these things do come up and present themselves to you in life, for you personally, Shannon, how do you take your opportunities? What is your mindset towards this sort of thing?
Well, do you know what? I do grab them with both hands. But at the same time, you can decline opportunities as well. And I think when I got offered the EBU on my fourth fight, and we declined it. But do I believe I would have won that? Absolutely. But in my heart, I didn't believe it was the right time for me. I needed to see things for myself in the ring, and I believe my matchroom debut showed me that. When I watched it back, I was like, yeah, that's brilliant. The skill set is there now, and you're ready. Um, so I think it is okay to decline opportunities, but you have to kind of weigh it up. It depends on where you are in your career, um, what could be next. There's factors to it. Um, but yeah, of course, grab the opportunities, but also weigh up what to grab and what's to leave.
If you took that opportunity of the EBU in your full fight, you may not have ever had this opportunity for a British title.
Absolutely. You're right. And that's how I look at things as well.
For you, at this point in your career, let's say the second ever female British title, would that mean more to you right now at this stage in your career than the EBU in your full fight?
Yeah, it would, because it's a prestigious belt that's only just come around. And to be the second female to be able to do so, brilliant.
Uh, just finally, you mentioned it briefly earlier, undisputed champion within 5 years. That's still the aim.
Less time.
Yeah,
Give me about 2.5 years. I'll have all the
two
belts.
2.5 years, all the belts, British title first. I'm assuming Commonwealth on the line if it is Emma Dolan, and then we'll look at that EBU and then the world titles.
And we'll push on.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck, Shannon. I'll be watching for sure. But thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.